Hey friends, Kevin here, and we're going to talk about why they're exhuming the body of Pauline Pusser and also go over some things with videos down in that area that I did before. Talk about why this is happening, my opinion of this stuff, and I want to hear your opinions down in the comments also. Let's get to it. Now, I have always been fascinated by this entire Walking Tall, Buford Pusser, Pauline Pusser story. And also other murder things and weird places things have happened. You'll see videos I've made on this channel of those types of things. I know exhumations are done and they are very expensive. And there's generally a long drawn out process for this. Now my understanding is the family is going along with this. But generally I have only seen exhumations really done decades and decades later, basically when they're trying to get DNA evidence, which is not the case here. So what's being reported is they want to see these entry trajectories when this happened. And amazingly, an autopsy was not done at that time. And again, you have to put things back into that era as far as why they weren't done. The original investigators, with what they had in the 1960s, I'm sure initially to them it was an open and shut case. They had the wife of a sheriff who had been killed. They had a sheriff who was in very bad shape. No reason really to disbelieve the ambush story in any way when you have a vehicle with all of these shot holes in it. And there have been the kind of conspiracy people that have always pushed this direction that maybe this did not go down exactly the way he said. Maybe there was some involvement. Now, I am not a big conspiracy guy, but you know what? I have to give credit because, man, there may actually be something to this. There is some reason the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations is going after this and spending this kind of money to do this and try to get an answer on this once and for all. And you have to remember, Buford Pusser has now been dead for 50 years. His wife has been dead for almost 57 years. Other people who may have been involved in this, if you were talking 20-year-old individuals, they would be in their late 70s now. If they were a little bit older than that, they would be in their 80s now. So if they were alive, because they may not be with us anymore. So it's not like this is something where they being the police, the TBI, are going after something because they want to be able to prosecute someone. They are trying to bring justice as far as enough proof to get somebody to trial and hopefully a conviction and have them incarcerated. That's what makes this entire thing so strange and something that I have never seen really happen before in any other type of story in this country. Now granted, next to the assassination of President Kennedy, and maybe the assassination of his brother, this is one of those ongoing things, this ongoing mystery that has happened. What happened to his wife, and then also the little bit of the conspiracy stuff, what actually happened, was there some foul play involved in Sheriff Pusser's death 7 years after his wife. Now, my understanding is an autopsy was performed on Sheriff Pusser, but it wasn't done in 1967 on his wife for one of the reasons we've talked about. And even in this era today, my assumption was just that anytime someone died away from somewhere, that they died at their home and they weren't an elderly person, that someone was going to order an autopsy. But I can tell you where I am in a state that borders Tennessee, in the last year, there was someone that wasn't that old that passed away at home, and one police officer came in, decided that, hey man, natural causes, probably a pre-existing health condition. Nothing was questioned, and they took that person straight to the hospital, pronounced them, and on to the funeral home and a cremation. So even in 2024, as I'm filming this lack of autopsies still goes on sometimes. Now, I tried to look this up for the state of Tennessee, and I'm just not getting clear information on this. So, you guys and gals that are Tennessee residents, let me know in the comments how the process goes for the coroner in your area. Let's say the county coroner. Because I know some states out there still exist to this day where county coroners are an elected position. And it doesn't require any training. It doesn't require any medical background at all. And the county coroner is the person, when a death happens, that decides whether an autopsy needs to be done or not. Even though that person doesn't really have any training, either medical training or law enforcement training. So let me know how it is in Tennessee and how it was in Tennessee in 1967, if that somehow played into why an autopsy was not done at that time. Now, I've been lucky enough to be able to go and spend time at these actual sites, including the church on New Hope Road, that entire path down through there, which is a very narrow country, unmarked line, 2-lane type of road. And that road, at least my understanding, really has not changed since 1967, with the exception of there may have been parts of it that weren't entirely paved then that are paved now. Now, there are people with videos and books that claim they have taken 2 vehicles out there and, tried to do this at this speed and weren't able to duplicate the way this supposedly happened. I don't entirely buy into that. Having been there, I think it is completely plausible for 2 vehicles to be going down through there and one to be shooting at another one. I don't see any reason realistically why that could not have happened on that road. That doesn't necessarily mean that it did happen that way. Which brings me to the big question and the opinion that I want of yours, which is, did it happen that way? Now, kind of put out of your head the dramatization of what was shown in that original Walking Tall movie, but the basis of it, 2 cars, people in one vehicle shooting at another vehicle. Do you think that the story the sheriff told is true, what was accepted basically as fact in 1967, or do you think there is going to be something that comes out of this that actually proves that either his story wasn't quite on the up and up, or that he possibly had some involvement in this? Now, they're going to be able to tell where her body was. Was she sitting in a vehicle? Was she lying on the ground? Was she standing up and someone lower than her? They are going to easily be able to tell this as far as the trajectory of these shots. And with an autopsy not having been performed in 1967, and I don't know this, but this is the part that fascinates me. With an autopsy having not been performed in 1967, not only are they going to be able to maybe get those trajectories, but depending on what was done, I'm assuming during the embalming or not done during the embalming, there is a possibility that there would still be those things actually still in her body. And if that exists that way, that would certainly go a long way towards putting myths to bed or opening up a whole lot more things in this scenario. But let me know your opinions. Down below are linked all of the other videos I've done on that area, where he died, where she died, out on New Hope Road, the actual grave sites. all of these different things, the jailhouse. Let me know if there's something else on this topic you are interested in, and we'll talk soon.